Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of The Rings of Power, which I've been talking about for a long time, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of talk about the new Amazon show, and there's been a lot of pre-hype for it, which I've been talking about on my channel before, and as I said, I was really excited for it, and I think it kind of lived up to my expectations. It had everything I wanted. Some of the hook wasn't there. I mean, it was easy for me to watch. It was not a boring show whatsoever. It was easy for me to follow. My problem comes with just some of the characters having some weird scenes, which I'm going to talk about, some of the CGI being off, and some of the time I'm just not really interested. And again, with one of my main things is when the POVs are permanently split is one of my main pet peeves, and hopefully they do come together. This will be a spoiler-free review. I'm going to be talking spoilers when the whole show comes out. Then I will have a time where I can talk about this. But as for now, I'm just going to tell you what I have problems with it, if you should start watching it. And I do think you should. It is easy to follow, but there are some things that are just cringy. There are some scenes, especially with the horse riding scenes, in the 3rd episode there was pretty bad. Elves were a great storyline, all of them, with the Galadriel storyline. And sometimes we'll just like stop following a character. Like we stopped following Elrond in the 3rd episode, which was frustrating because I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just a Galadriel thing. Galadriel was in this show, and I thought the actor did a good job. I love seeing Numenor. For some reason, Numenor was awesome to see. But the Padfoot storyline was the weakest, in my opinion, with the Dreamer. There's a lot of mystery in this show. The mystery is really what goes for it, especially with that storyline. And that's my least favorite storyline this far, because it's really just the hobbits, the same thing that we've been watching, but in a different time period where they're not even hobbits, they're ancestors of hobbits. The characters are okay in that one. It's just it's repetitive. And the elves one has got to be my favorite one when they're in the orcs camp. That is pretty awesome. It's a very violent show. The orcs on it are pretty violent. I am not the one to tell you how accurate this is going to be, because I have read Lord of the Rings multiple times. It's just I'm not familiar with that time period. But it does seem loyal to Tolkien's work. I don't know if he would have wanted it to be as a movie. I would have loved having a movie here. But having the time that you can explore will be great. This is a 5-season long show. I didn't realize how big of an event this would be covering until like a lot later in the production of this. I realized this is going to be huge. The War of the Ring is going to happen at the end. Knowing what's going to happen is a little strange, because obviously I know how it's going to lead up, but I don't, since it's this far in, like, behind, I really think like it's going to be interesting to know what happens, because you have a lot of years to fill the gaps, especially with me, who needs to read more of the Second Age. I thought this was a really good show. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. This is not perfect yet, but it's impressed me how well I retain to the show. Like, I'm very connected, even though it's a fantasy show that's like completely disconnected. A lot of times they can make the show so boring, like those kind of shows, like the adaptation is not as good as the book, whereas it doesn't captivate me. They make the characters completely bland. They do not do that here. I am watching from start to finish. I cannot say that with other shows like The Foundation, which they just make everything bland, and this is not one of them, so that is a good sign. But it hasn't proven to me that this is going to be a fantastic show yet. This breakthrough moment could happen. There was a breakthrough moment in episode 3 where they kind of realized something, which I loved, and that was a kind of a mini one, but I definitely think they need this moment to say, like, this is the epic show. So I'm still waiting for that. But I do enjoy watching it. I'm obviously going to finish the series. I have no major problems other than how disconnected these storylines are. If you know me, that's a pet peeve of mine. I like them to be more cohesive, and at least like to have met each other before, or like when they split up, it makes sense. But they're just following three different people, 3 or 4 different people in a very different kind of ways of life, with Galadriel being the more royal one, and then the warrior elf, which I'm not sure the name of because I'm terrible with names, especially with fantasy names of this one. The Padfoots, or I believe they're called. I'm gonna mess this up really bad. And then Elrond and the Dwarfs, which is my favorite one. I loved that one. It really explores like the elves not being perfect, but also just being this great species. They were my favorite in Lord of the Rings. I was obsessed with the elves. That's like really cool. So I'm really cool to see more of them and explore more of Lord of the Rings, because this is the first piece of Lord of the Rings film that came out since The Hobbit, and that I'm really excited to continue on with the show. Overall, it gets a good grade from me. It gets a thumbs up. I'm really excited to see what happens, and we'll compare it to the Wheel of Time show at the end, because that was the 2 Amazon shows that we were really excited to come out. And I personally do not know which one I like more at this point. Both of them are clearly very far away from perfect. But right now, this is hovering at an 80% for me, a 4 out of 5. Right now, that could obviously change. Please tell me what you guys think down below, and see you guys in the next video. Peace out.